today's host on the show, we've got Lucas Meadowcroft. Thanks so much for coming along. We'll start things out. You've got a fairly vast career in terms of, I guess, the tech and IT space, but do you want to just give the audience a bit of a rundown on sort of your journey and where things started out?
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Looking forward to this conversation. Been in tech for 20 years. I might not look it, but yeah, definitely in the industry for a long time. Very much started in the IT support space. Essentially, where I first came to know the Cube brand back in the day was through a networking event, and I met Scott on the team. And so, from an IT support perspective, that was my entire world for many years, right? And what's IT support is like providing that external service piece to a business when they have a support issue. Computer's running slow, printer doesn't work, password reset, can't log into my computer. Very mundane, basic IT requests. That was my world for a very long time. Throughout that journey and speaking to customers and listening to the needs or wants of customers, I soon realized that was just like a given. You just need to make sure your computer's working. That's not really adding value to a business as such. And so just listening to customers, like that's how I evolved my career over the long period, is because, providing them what I call the mundane, the necessary, which is computer needs to be turned on and working. That's a aspect of your operational experience working in your job. But what business owners really want is the efficiency gain from using technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so just diving into that, and that's essentially how we've evolved to where we are today, which is providing that full end-to-end consulting service to allow us to really implement and evolve from an artificial intelligence point of view to really push the boundaries on what we can see from an efficiency gain perspective inside businesses.
So that's the Crofty brand that you own and operate now. Do you primarily work with larger businesses, smaller businesses, mix of both?
Yeah, SME, mid-market, corporate, enterprise, government, across the board. We're really focused on how do we enable a staff member to do what they love doing. And so this could be in any environment, any industry, but we're getting really pulled in the construction and manufacturing industry right now. So we're going along with the ride. How do you as a staff member just come to work every single day and just love what you do? And so what I mean by that is think about when you turn up to work in the morning and you have your list of, say, 10 or 20 items and you go, great, I'm going to always go, you always get through 3. You never get through the whole list, even though we always want to.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you choose those 3 are the ones that you actually want to do.
Yeah.
And everything else on your list that you don't want to do just always gets pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And with the world that we live in, we haven't never, ever, like our list never ends. Like it's always consistently.
There's always
long.
An email to read at 10 o'clock
Yeah.
at night. No matter what time it is, there's always something there to do.
Exactly. So we just love focusing on what you don't like doing. Let's just automate it. Let's just replace it so you can focus on what you love doing.
Yeah. So as a business owner, and I guess it is really topical at the moment, everyone's talking about AI, the impacts of that. Is that a big aspect of how you're helping people automate things at the moment?
AI is an amazing buzzword, so you might as well go along the ride, right?
Yeah.
We've been in AI for nearly 8 years. Machine learning, deep learning, neural networks.
So much before it was cool.
We couldn't talk to anyone about what we're doing, not because people didn't want to listen. They just didn't understand and didn't care.
Yeah.
From potential customers to family and friends to investors. Having an AI conversation back in 2018, 2019, it wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just was like impossible. So we were like in this really cocoon style internal discussion only, and we couldn't talk to anyone else about it.
Yeah.
So it's great to be out. ChatGPT launches 2.5 years ago. I'm like, finally, we're getting out to start talk to people about AI. Even my own partner at the time was like, what's this ChatGPT thing? This will never take off. This is like, this is just a fad, which, a lot of people in the media thought it was going to be a fad, like a blockchain cryptocurrency fad.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is like finally what we've been doing for the last 5 years. We can now talk to people about, and we can now take people on a journey from an AI perspective. So yeah, it's that was a game changing.
So that was the pivotal moment, I guess, that sort of brought it to Main Street or the masses, was the conversation around ChatGPT. Now, there's lots of, I guess, conversations around its impact what it is? Like, what is AI? Because there's a lot of people in the audience that will be sitting here going, I hear all these buzzwords. What does it mean in practicality?
Yeah, especially when you ask someone, or you have the conversation around, are you using AI in your daily job or in your daily life? And they say, yeah, I'm using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So people's mind goes AI equals ChatGPT
Mhm.
Yeah.
because they dominated the market. They were kind of like the first, they being ChatGPT, OpenAI was like the first commercial consumer application that was absorbed by millions and millions of people globally. And so that became a household name. It's like, when you're doing it like over in the US and you're vacuuming and no one says you vacuum, they say you're hoovering because Hoover was a known brand, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how, why today AI is very much ChatGPT. It's not. But that's the perception in the market. And I like to explain AI in a way that conceptualize and makes sense to us humans. It's the decision making component.
Yeah.
In business, we talk a lot about AI automation because AI, the AI component, the machine learning, the deep learning, the algorithm component, it's the decision making component of the AI automation that we put in place, right? And so anytime, if you look at your task list, you've got all these items that you need to complete. Each task that you're doing in your role requires you to make a decision. Us humans are making 10,000 decisions a day. It's just subconscious. We're just not thinking about it. That decision making component is the AI component. We use our mind or we use our gut feel to
Mhm.
make a decision. That's the AI component. Everything else that we need in our business is automation. So it's a combination of, connecting systems together, copying and pasting data from Excel spreadsheets into CRM systems. Like that's the automation component. The AI is the decision making component.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
that's like I'll just finish off to
yeah.
make more sense. It's like when we talk about AI, well, let's put AI in our business. What we actually mean is we need a combination of both AI automation because 80% of what we want in our business is automation, 20% is AI. It's that decision making component, but people don't really understand it. So I don't try to correct people. I just go along with the ride
So
and
it's
say, yeah,
something
it's just
that
AI.
goes hand in hand with other tools and other resources that are available, and I guess makes it the whole thing more streamlined.
Yeah.
And I think we'll delve a bit more into, I guess, the practical things business owners can do and what's available now and what might be available in the future. But before we head into that, there's a lot of people that are really nervous about the changes and the
Mhm.
potential impacts. There was a study, I think it was out of the UK. Our industry in finance is one of the the middleman in finance, I guess, is one of the largest impacted potential industries. So we may be hitting you up for a job in a couple of years' time. I'll keep your number handy. But what does that look like in reality? What's the potential impact? Should people be scared, or is it more of a case of it's just another change in technology like we've seen previously?
It's definitely just another change,
Yeah,
but it's a rapid change.
yeah,
And us humans are not ready for the rapid change that has already happened and is coming in the next 2 to 3 years.
yeah,
The evolution of mankind, the evolution of society has increased not just tenfold, but 100 times in a very, very short period of time, right? So if we just look at the last 2.5 years, 3 years, us humans of the understanding of where AI is and what's possible has probably moved, I don't know, 6 months
yeah,
worth of timeline. Technology's moved 20 years, 30 years in timeline. So the ratio of us understanding, we're not equal anymore.
hmm,
And so should people be scared or fearful? My personal opinion is you should go all in and embrace it.
yeah,
It's not going away.
yeah,
If you want to be, it's okay if you want to go and get a log cabin and be disconnected from the world and that's what you want in your life, then totally fine. But if you want to stay in society, you need to really embrace
yeah,
where we're at right now and what's coming in the next few years. Otherwise, you will be left behind. Uh, from a fearful conversation, I like to talk about the stuff that we don't like doing in our life.
hmm,
That's why we're very targeted from a company point of view, focus on administrative tasks
yeah,
and tasks that are not really value adding to us
yeah.
personally.
No one loves reconciling the bank account. There's no one on
Exactly.
the face of the planet that loves
Exactly.
that. Yeah,
Or like let's pick on your industry, right?
yeah,
Finance. A lot of what you do from a finance point of view is collecting data.
yeah,
To be able to provide me the right loan for my circumstance in the right way, you need to collect a lot of information from me, right? Or not just my bank statements and my history, but my company history, where we're going into the future. All that data that you're collecting gives you a story to then put towards the banks and do negotiation with the 40-odd lenders that are out there, and then go, okay, now I can give you the right option that suits your circumstance, right? That data collection process, that's admin.
And I like that example because we've seen this in our industry over the last few years. It's not so much AI that's definitely starting to come into play, but just more improvements in technology and automation. If we have a conversation with a client and a lot of that data entry has been done beforehand, less of the conversation is about, oh, so where do you work? And more of the conversation is about, so what's your long-term goals? So it's a way more interesting conversation to have for both myself and the client, because essentially the technology's gotten that boring part out of the way. So is that how people should be viewing AI as well?
In my personal opinion, absolutely. Why? Because it's removing the fear factor.
Yeah.
Back to what you originally said. It's not replacing your job. It's not replacing your career. You want to come work for us in a couple of years from now. You don't have to think like that, right?
Yeah.
Us humans, we're the experts. People think AI is this machine that can just think for itself and do its own tasks, right?
Yeah.
We haven't got there yet. Is it coming? Absolutely, it will come in the next, most likely in our lifetime, but it's not there yet. We are the experts, and we should be guiding and putting the guardrails and the guidelines on how we want this technology to coexist with us. And so that's why my mind goes towards that. A perfect example is, let's take away the mundane, boring stuff that you guys do on a daily basis, collecting data, pulling all that information in, writing the report, putting the information together, and just focus on what you love doing, having conversation with a client, talk about their life, talk about what they're doing in the next couple of years, talk about how this getting this home loan will change their life, right? Or the commercial loan, or whatever you're doing. You're having a relationship conversation. All the mundane tasks behind the scenes is done for you. Provides you the information, you grab that information and you go, great, now let's go with it.
Much better approach.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting concept as a whole is kind of how do we outsource the robotic tasks that no one wants to be doing and focus on the real human element aspects, which is relationship building, getting to understand the client, their experience, where they're at, and then use, I guess, the human creative problem solving piece to outsource the documentation, the mundane, boring tasks,
and
get them off the table.
It puts the business owner in a mindset where it's less about, oh no, I'm screwed, and more about, okay, what can I do to improve my business here, which is a much better spot to be in, as far as thinking about your business long term. So
I'll flip it back to you guys.
Yeah.
Rewind 10 minutes. What were you thinking AI was, and how would it affect you personally? Because you said I'm going to be out of a job in 2 years.
I was half joking.
versus 10 minutes. We just had the conversation, and where's your mindset at now?
For me personally, I've sort of always had a bit of a unique approach to AI. It's this kind of mystical thing where you don't really know what it is or how it's going to impact it. And my sort of main fear really came from that rate or progression of change that you explained. For myself personally, it's hard to know. It's the same as like if you're in the middle of, I guess, the change with diesel machines coming in. A lot of the workforce was employed by farming and agriculture, and they go, well, what are we going to do? And then the product of that after a period of time was more people got fed, things became more efficient. And now we didn't need to spend 60, 70% of our time producing food and water. We could focus on new innovation. So there's parts of me that kind of goes, this is a really exciting space. The challenge, I guess, I find is how do I integrate myself into that space and then provide value? Like, I think humans want to really feel valuable. We want to feel a need for our human capital or our experiences. So I'm still a little unsure. I honestly have no idea where this goes, but I guess the key thing for me is how do I make myself more valuable integrating with technology is sort of my standpoint.
Yeah, I'd say I'm similar in that regard. Like, I always try to focus on what's within my sphere of influence rather than external things I'm not necessarily able to control. I hadn't honestly even thought about AI until ChatGPT 3, I think, launched, and then I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Now it's a part of my bedtime routine with my kids. We make a story with them every night, with them as the main characters. And it is something we use and implement in our business. And I'm sort of keeping an eye on, what the changes are. And a lot of it is honestly positive things. Like you said, what can we take away that's mundane, the task that no one enjoys doing. But then there is an element of, how quickly that goalpost is moving, how quickly it's changing. There's a little bit of a thought of I'm struggling to keep up with that. That's probably my, I guess, my thought around.
If you're struggling, imagine me. I'm struggling to keep up with it. Like, this is all I do every day. All I do is research and read the latest that's come out every single day.
Mhm.
Every day we have more than 20 new leapfrogs in technology changes from different companies around the world. 20 per day.
Yeah, wow.
I can't keep up with it.
Phenomenal.
So for the normal consumer, there's no chance, right?
Yeah.
And I think to your point before, where it's like, it's a bit of the unknown because there's no AI app off the shelf that you can just pick up, put into your business, and then that makes sense.
Mhm.
We're not at that stage, right? Everything is still very customizable behind the scenes. No one's really solved. It's still very early days from a direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Because you got ChatGPT set the very bar of just grab this app off the shelf, start using a
Plug and
chatbot
play,
every day,
yeah.
right? Plug and play. That hasn't evolved into the everyday working environment just yet, and it is coming, but we're still a fair few years off that. And so that's why your mind is like, well, I don't really understand how it fits in because it's very much it can do everything,
Mhm.
but I can do nothing if you don't teach it what you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
the
so-
unique situation. It's kind of positioned. Like if I look at it from a timeline perspective, like are we kind of at the stage, in your view, where people were starting to play around with web pages and the internet? Is that where we're at the infancy of AI and people even in the space trying to figure out where this goes and where it's useful?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly where we are,
Mhm.
which to me is exciting because we can position it to do exactly what we want it to do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So on that, and going back, I guess, to practical tips for small business owners or business owners in general, business leaders, let's just say, what are some things that are possible today that would be productive and could be beneficial for a business factoring in using AI?
Start simple.
Yeah.
Focus on the administrative tasks that you don't want to do. So the number one thing that I recommend that everyone does is this takes commitment. So this is not like something you can just get and it just does it for you. As you're going on in your day, document the different tasks that you're doing. Because we get so caught up in just doing what we just do every single day, it becomes like we're like this vehicle that just keeps moving forward. It's like when you drive from Brisbane down to Logan home, and you're like, "Oh, I'm at Logan home," but I didn't realize I just drove there because you're in a autopilot mode, right? And it's what we do on a daily basis. If you can take yourself back and start documenting exactly what you do every step of the day and go, I made this phone call, I had this conversation, I wrote this email, I responded to this person, I set up this meeting, what the purpose of the meeting was, I wrote this proposal, I don't know, wrote this report. Like you start documenting every task that you do, you'll soon realize how much of that is actually administrative work
Yeah.
versus how much where you as an expert add your value to that daily task. And this is not just for a business owner, this is for every staff member in a
Mhm.
company. This is not just for one person. Yeah, obviously it's great a leader can, hold the flag up and go down that route. But from a staff member's perspective, I honestly believe if we can focus on job satisfaction, the culture improves, the company improves, everyone's going to be happier. And so focus on that job satisfaction is my first point of call. Then from an implementation point of view, ChatGPT is so powerful. Gemini, Grok, Anthropic, Llama, like all the models out there, they're all amazing. If you're not already using that on a daily basis, you're already behind. Like just start simple. $20 a month. Don't use the free version. All your information you put in there will be out there on the web, so don't do that. Start simple. The $20, so what in Australia it's what $30, $40 a month, $45 a month, whatever it is. Just use that one platform. It's not complicated. You get it off the shelf, and start using that in your daily basis. So then take what I just said before with your documentation process of writing down every task, start having a conversation, not just typing, but physically have a direct conversation with the advanced voice mode.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your day, talk about the tasks that you're doing. You'll be heavily surprised at going, well, why are you doing that task? It will start giving you some information. Did you know you could do this task differently? Hey, would you like me to do the research for you? So you don't have to go do the research for me.
Yeah, wow. So you're saying do a personal sort of daily audit on what you're doing and then use that information to chat to the whatever LLM your system you're utilizing to actually then that give you advice on how to implement. That's
That's
wow.
Yeah.
mind-boggling. You're effectively using large language models
How do I use you?
as a
Yeah.
vision board that then comes up with more, I
Mhm.
guess, productive ways of you
Mhm.
doing your mundane tasks. Almost treating AI effectively as like a productivity coach
Mhm.
in a
Or
weird
partner.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to remember, or maybe I shouldn't say that. One thing most people don't realize is the large language model, the latest version that we can use, say within or any of the models, but it's say ChatGPT because it's the most common that people know. It's the skill set that this large language model has is equivalent, if not better, than a PhD student, someone who's been in the industry for 10, 20 years as a doctor. Like it's got the knowledge and the know-how and the algorithmic process to solve these complex tasks way better than you do
Yeah.
because it's been trained to do that, right? And so just imagine having a scientist or the best researcher you've ever seen before in your entire life in your pocket at any point in time.
Yeah. If you had a mate that was a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist, and he could write code, you'd probably really ask that like a few questions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what people don't realize.
yeah.
You have that in your pocket today. You have access to it. So I'm not talking about, this is to answer your question from before, right? It's not like you have to be super complicated and come up with the best strategy and then do the full integration and then spend months building this really complicated AI platform in your business. Not from a starting point. Keep it
Mhm.
simple.
Yeah.
Just utilize what you already have access to.
And I like the concept of because sometimes people struggle with if you frame something in the way that just do more of what you love versus just do less of what you hate. I find it easier. Maybe I'm just a cynical person, but to pick out the things in my week and days that I hate doing, and life's better if I remove those things or minimize those things, right? So that's I think a good thought exercise that makes it a little bit easier to identify some areas that you can potentially minimize or eliminate in your daily workflow with your business. So what's the main, I guess, out of the Chat GPT or the different options there? What's your go-to one there? Do you have a one that you use personally?
ChatGPT is
Yeah.
100% my go-to
Yeah.
because I was one of the early adopters, like day one release
Yeah.
early adopter. So we already, just for context, OpenAI has been around for, let's call it 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
We were building our first machine learning, deep learning model on OpenAI.
Mhm.
ChatGPT is the consumer application, right?
Yeah.
So we were already working with OpenAI many, many years ago, back in
Yeah.
2018. And so we were already on that journey, nearly 5 years before ChatGPT was launched.
Mhm.
So as soon as ChatGPT launched, we're already early adopters in that ChatGPT era.
Yeah.
Converting me and my entire history and every thread and every GPT and every context that ChatGPT model in my profile knows about me, converting me to say Gemini or to another model would be very, very difficult.
Yeah. So it's got all that history,
The-
all that learning about what how you operate, what you like, what you don't like.
And
Yeah.
this is why you read all these media articles on Google and else, trying to capture the market, and the new switch that they've got inside Google to try and convince people to go back to Google search.
Yeah.
The only reason I've used Google search in 2.5 years is for spell check.
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic, so spelling is not my core strength.
Yeah.
And so I literally copy and paste, text into Google, I hit search, it gives me the right spelling, I copy and paste it back to where I need to use it.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I've used Google for in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Like the touch point there that I picked up on that I wouldn't have even thought about is other large language models trying to capture the marketplace. And effectively what you're saying is It's like having a personal assistant that you've trained up for 3 or 4 years. To go back to someone green and start again, there's got to be some real incentive
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
want to shift and change that.
With
Like if
the
you look at every thread that I've got in ChatGPT, like how do I just wouldn't even want to think about how do I even. There would have to be. So I haven't looked actually because I haven't wanted to. Someone most likely has invented a solution to migrate all my threads and all my history from say ChatGPT to Google. I'm assuming someone has invented that. I
Yeah.
haven't looked for it because I haven't needed to. What would cause me from moving away from ChatGPT? Copilot finally does what it's meant to do from 2 years ago, but it's
Yeah.
shit, so it won't. So maybe 2 years, maybe in 2 years' time it might. The pricing, where I think we're spending $1,000 a month, maybe $1,500 a month on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So maybe if they put that up to 10 grand a month, I would probably consider moving.
Yeah.
Maybe pricing would be a reason I'd want to move away. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Use the example. It's just a easy example. We do like I mentioned the bedtime stories, but for my children each night we use ChatGPT and it makes a custom story where they, and it makes a picture, and my particular one knows the age of my children, what they look like, the color of their hair. So it makes the little cartoon illustrations. It has all that, so it's nice and easy to
Yep.
utilize. So yeah, if you had to change it over and start from scratch, there's some extra work there for sure.
I would then take that and go to. There's an AI for that.
Yeah.
Have you seen the marketplace?
No.
So if you Google, I say Google. If you look on the website, just we still say just Google it.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't used
brand.
Google. I haven't used Google for 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's a verb now.
Yeah, exactly. If you look up, there's an AI for that. There's 37,000 AI apps that have launched in the last 2 years. This is a marketplace that you can search for any AI app that exists in the world. So 37,000 AI apps. I did this for a client recently. Like, how can I use AI in my personal life?
Yeah.
I said, well, give me an example of your bedtime process.
Yeah.
So, well, we were always run out of books to read, and so we went and we found a children's book creator. We took the information from ChatGPT, put it in the children's book creator, created a full 10-page book instantly. That they could just put on their iPad and then flick through the pages on a very personalized, customized book to read to their kids at nighttime.
Yeah, that's
phenomenal. Like we've got the world at our fingertips, it seems. You brought up a really interesting point that I wanted to touch on, which is, and I'd never even thought about it, but if we've got this wave of people and all of these people, I guess, or consumers jumping onto large language model apps, AIs, Groks, ChatGPT, etc., how's that going to change search for small, medium-sized business? Let's say you run an electrical company, you're in construction, traditionally you've worked off of Google reviews, people searching web pages. If this has the same impact it does in search, how does that change how you even promote your business? How do you get seen now if everyone moves into these models?
The interesting thing is that marketing companies haven't moved towards this yet, which is very concerning, in my opinion. I've had probably 30 plus meetings now with marketing agencies. They're not even embracing AI. They're not even considering this conversation. This is very topical because the last, say, 3 to 4 months, the only conversation in the AI space when it comes to Google is what is Google going to do about its search? Biggest advertising, right? Most of their income comes from paid advertising in the Google side, not the YouTube side. And when we're trying to advertise our business, it's either SEO, it's Google advertising, it's Google reviews, building the Google My Business profile. If I'm not using Google to do any searching, let's call me, I'm in the 1%.
Yeah.
Let's say the whole population goes towards that in the next, little while. Then what does Google do about its business model? So there was even conversation about Google selling off the Google search business completely.
That would be a shift up.
Yeah,
a massive. Google sold Google.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because most of their revenue comes from YouTube.
Yeah.
And so there's very facet tangled business, but it's like separating the different entities and different structures and isolating it. So what they did recently was change the searching component within the Google search to allowing you to do AI search. And so not the traditional Google search, but using AI, and then it gives you the responses like a ChatGPT would give you a response.
Yeah, so that's that summary at the top before it shows the websites. It gives you the explanation.
That was like the first step.
Yeah.
Now the second step is a toggle.
Yeah.
and that toggle allows you to do a ChatGPT type of search within the Google browser
Okay.
to try and get
Right.
people to come back to
Yeah.
Google. And what I've seen recently inside ChatGPT is Google reviews. The SEO starting to work really well now within ChatGPT. So when you do a search and you're looking for a particular product, say electrician in your local area, it will then give you all the electricians. It will then give you all the Google reviews. It will then give you, okay, I recommend you should go with this one because of the history, because of all the information. So it's starting to come back. Like it's been about a 6-month dormant process
Yeah.
of nothing, but I'm now starting to see what we used to spend money on from an SEO point of view and a Google and Google review starting to swim back to now providing that information within, say, ChatGPT and the Google search. The question is, who's paying for that advertising? Advertising spends kind of like essentially disappeared overnight. And so that's the interesting topic.
Does it get a bit funny in that regard? Because could there be examples where, obviously money gets involved in things and sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. But could there be an instance where you go, oh, how do I fix my light bulb? And then instead of answering with the best explanation, it instead comes back, why don't you use this, call this local electrician instead?
Yeah.
Is that?
That's where it's going towards, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
have they figured that out yet? If they have figured it out, they haven't announced it to the world yet.
Yeah.
But this is literally a hot topic this week in the tech media in the US on solving this problem.
A voice to search to then providing solutions. So I go, hey Siri, and that controls all my light bulbs, my audio in my house. I'm going shopping and I'm making spaghetti bolognese. Where do I need to go and prepare a shopping list and 3 recommended supermarkets based on Google reviews, positive people's feedback, and what you've got stored online?
Yeah, and who's paying the advertising cost?
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if you've ever tried this. Like this is, I'm talking like maybe 12, 18 months ago. You take a photo of your fridge, the contents of your fridge.
Yeah.
And have you tried this?
I haven't tried it personally. I have seen.
Okay. Yeah. So when the first model came out about 18 months ago, it was pretty damn cool. You take a photo of your contents of your fridge, and then you say, you give no explanation. Obviously, a lot more advanced than what it was back then, and say, okay, what do you recommend I can make out of this? Blah blah blah. Gives you the recipes. Gives you a really good option to make, and say, by the way, you're missing this component. So what you can do now, next level, 18 months later, that exact same process, you can have a voice conversation or a video conversation with your items in your fridge, and go, by the way, your local supermarket that has that particular item is here. It's 300 meters walk away or a 2-kilometer drive away. This is the cost of that item, and they have it in stock.
Yeah, wow.
That's crazy.
So it's moving quickly, even just highlighting that point, how that much that's changed in 6 months, which is not a long period of time, is quite full on.
Rapid, yeah.
On the flip side of the conversation, what are some things, if any, that AI can't do, or things you shouldn't focus on taking out of your personal workflow and utilizing, replacing with AI?
Can't do or shouldn't do is 2 different questions.
Yeah.
Can't do, with the right budget and the right time frame, there's not much we can't do.
Yeah.
What's stopping us from doing anything is our human creativity. It's so well advanced, we don't know what we can do with it.
We're the bottleneck.
We are 100% the bottleneck right now.
Actually, I've heard I've listened to some podcasts with CEOs of people launching these AI, products, and when they're talking about the capability, they themselves are unsure. They're like, oh yeah, we probably could do that. They can't even articulate what it can and can't do, which is quite crazy.
How do you think ChatGPT exists the way it is now? Experimentation. They had no idea if it was possible or not. Experimentation.
Yeah.
And so if I think about like the tribute journey that we went on when we built our first artificial intelligence model, and then we went to market to sell that to the market, right? No one believed that we could even automate the triage. It's impossible. It's impossible. A human will always have to do it. A human's way more accurate than a machine. It's impossible to do. So that was like the first hurdle, is proving the point that no, it's actually possible.
Yeah.
Sure, it took us 3 years and $3.5 million, but it's possible. Then the second leap is, will consumers use it? Because people love control.
Yeah.
And so we had to shut down our AI company because we couldn't sell it. No one would buy it because people still like the control to be able to manage that process in their business, right? And so when you say, what can't AI do? To what the possibilities are, it can do it.
Yeah.
Us humans just stopping it from doing it, and obviously time and costs,
So that's on the business owner side, but then potentially the consumer side as well.
all of the above.
Yeah.
There's give me a use case, and I'll probably give you an example of what's been done in the world or what's being done in the world
Mm-hmm.
in any topic in your life, in your personal, in your business. From scientists like solving cancers. Like one of the cancers that was looks like it's going to be solved now. They were predicting it was 50 years to solve this particular cancer. It's now within 3 years of 100% solving this cancer.
Wow.
50 years to 3 years.
So is the rate of progression, is that dictated by the speed in which we're able to build computing power and the data within these models? Or what's driving this? Because it seems like, we've had periods of changes in history where we've seen what we would determine as rapid change, but this is rapid to another level where the experts are like, the rate at which it compounds is insane.
Yeah.
What's that driven by?
I had this conversation with Amy, my partner, this morning. Greed,
Mm-hmm.
want to be the best in the world, power, control, money,
All the human things.
all the human things. AI is not driving this.
Yeah.
Humans are driving this. So if I look at the latest deal with Saudi Arabia or just the UAE in general, right? Putting in probably $1 trillion of infrastructure to build one of the largest data centers in the world. Why would they want to do that? Because they want to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be the biggest. So what's that? Egotistical. Why else would you do it?
Yeah.
AI is not driving it. Humans are driving it. The technology changes, the rapid changes. Probably to your question before around can't. What's going to stop us is we're going to run out of power. And there's a really big use case and concern around massive power outages in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Massive power outages. And the prediction is, and I don't know that from a scientific point of view here, but like physically death. So if we use enough power in one city, the power goes off for 24 hours or 48 hours, people will die.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a concern, right? You gotta
Yeah, that's a big concern.
let that sink in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we have massive, say hurricanes or tsunamis or what, massive effects in society, it's a ripple effect, right? And so this is the concern because we're consuming so much power and we're not allowed to build nuclear power plants in the way that we want to build them
Mm-hmm.
today, and so we can't produce enough power to sustain the growth of what technology is wanting us to grow with.
Yeah,
and so
that
that's
compute
concern.
power and all the processing power, and obviously that's just getting bigger and bigger as the days go by.
Yeah.
Taking it back, and I know we sort of covered a few of these points, but just to, I guess, really hit home, if I'm a small business, let's just say I'm a tradie, I own an electrical business, and I have 6 guys working for me, and we're doing okay, and with the changes starting today, what would your advice be if you could say one thing?
I love this conversation. If you're a trader, you got say six guys on the road install electrical, right? Let's pick electrical. Fitting light bulbs, putting TVs on the wall, running cables, putting new power boards in, whatever it might be. What you're amazing at as a tradie is doing the job.
Mm-hmm.
What you're not good at, no offense, is the paperwork that goes behind doing the job.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
Collecting the information, documenting it, putting into a system, invoicing it.
Sometimes you have to chase them for invoices. It's crazy. Yeah.
Let's just say, hey, I've not been able to pay you because you haven't sent me an invoice. It's been 3 weeks. It's been 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll get around to that. And then they spend all Saturday or all Sunday
Mm-hmm.
catching up on their paperwork.
Yeah.
They're not good at it. They don't want to do it. Why would you? They want to physically go on site and do the actual work. And so if I was to start a tradie business today, I would look at that entire process and what I know for a fact where AI can be implemented today, not in 6 months from now, today, taking every phone call, booking every job, having the conversation with the person, physical voice conversation like a human being, because we can choose any actor in the world, doesn't matter who it is. Book the job, quote the job. You then have to physically, as a tradie, go up and turn up on site and do the job. Capture the data, take a photo. As long as you take a photo or you document it, or you have a conversation with your AI on the way back and or between jobs, and you can
While
have
you're driving in the
while
car.
you're driving in the car, you have to interact.
Yeah.
Say, yep, I finished this job. Here's the photo. I'm now going to the next job. It then takes that, absorbs that information, creates the invoice, and sends the invoice. So what part of that job has this tradie done? The physical work.
And if you really think about that from the impact of that business owner, that could be, a 50%, 100% increase in revenue, because suddenly you're not stuck on the phone in between jobs. You're not spending the Saturdays invoicing or driving around quoting on jobs that you may or may not get. Just that alone.
Turnaround time on your invoices.
Yep.
Now you don't have to pay the guys
Customer
with credit
service is better.
cards.
Cash flow.
Yep.
Job satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Life at home with the family.
Yep. Kids are getting a win. Dad can
Mhm.
come to the soccer game now.
Yep. It's a ripple effect.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that's a fascinating one. Now,
And that's today. We can do that today.
Yeah.
Tradies have access to that technology today.
And I wonder how many have actually embraced that. Not many.
Zero.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of industries, I guess, that are ready and there for someone to shake it up as well, to go, I can implement this everywhere. Like this has been the whole conversation's been a new lease. My mind goes, okay, where is somewhere that can be implemented?
Going back to the practical steps on that, just say you heard this and you go, I want to do that. That sounds great. What next?
So this is the middle ground that we're in.
Yeah.
From an evolution of technology. I can't go and get an app off the shelf and have that in my business to do it exactly how I want to do it on a daily basis and be very personalized. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So everything I just talked about is fully custom designed for their business. So you got to outlay capital to custom design it for your business. So it's not really scalable, right? It's a very custom designed solution. But in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years from now, you'll be able to get that app off the shelf, plug it into your business, and it will do everything I just said.
Yeah.
We're not just there. We're just not there yet.
Yeah.
And that's why we haven't embraced AI as quickly as what you would think, because it's not custom to your business or the way you do things, right?
And is it a case, I mean, it's much like, if someone's saying, I want to buy a house, I want to refinance, what are the next steps? What are the goalposts? You go speak to myself or any broker, you're more likely sort of going to get that, know where the goalposts are, know what the steps are, know what the process is a bit more by getting that advice. Would it be much the same with someone like yourself? Like, speak to an expert, engage in someone that's spending that time researching it, so you don't have to go and recreate the wheel yourself?
If you're wanting to embrace it today and not wait until your competitors do in the next 2 years, then absolutely speak to an expert and get the implementation in your business from a custom design point of view today.
Yeah.
In 2 years from now, there will be apps off the shelf you can buy and run with it.
But 2 years is if you get a 2-year head start, that's pretty significant.
Yeah. Massive significance.
There's obviously some investment involved, but what's the return on that investment? It's
if it's a six person tradie, they'll go, well, the only return on investment's my time. I go, well, what's the time worth with your family? Not needing to do any hours after work, after hours, or on weekends.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Or, recently we got feedback from a client to say I was able to go on a holiday for the first time in 10 years and never have to check my emails.
Yeah, that's valuable.
Goals.
That's valuable. Like, we quite often get caught up in the monetary things, but it is taking the kids to school practice. It's having a weekend off where you can go and watch the Parramatta do their bet. There's a whole bunch of real human experiences that technology can win back that time for us. What would you say would be, I guess, a use case or a real life example where you've sat down with a client, the conversations open up and they go, wow, we can implement or build something custom tailored towards our business? And then what has, I guess, sort of been the actual outcomes? Like, what's been some real wins where you go, here's a practical example of business that's implemented a strategy that we've had a chat about and tailored towards the business? And what did it look like in practicality in terms of an outcome for a client?
I'll use, because we're talking about trades, I'll use the construction. It seems like we're very construction focused here. I'll use a construction analogy or some examples in scaffolding, in building, in fit outs, in surveying, in implementation of HVACs, like very service based construction industry, right? All those examples I just gave, we've done loads of AI work in. And so the number one problem that most tradies want to solve is quoting, is estimating. And so we've built this for a few tradies now, where I say tradies in the construction industry, is to do a quote or do an estimation. To do that, you need to actually capture a lot of data. And this is where people's minds don't really put two and two together. Capturing data means having a conversation with a potential customer, going back and forth on email, on text message, on WhatsApp, collecting information, asking questions. Where's the site? What site permits do I need? How large is the job? How long do I need to be on site for? What do you need me to quote within that particular job? How many? What are there any items I need to bring to site? Stock. So you need to. That's all back and forth, and that's all data collection. And so we built multiple now AI. Let's call them AI agents. I don't like terminology, but it's what people are using. We've built AI agents to have that back and forth conversation via email, via text message, via WhatsApp conversation. We haven't done a phone conversation yet because everyone's too fearful of that. So I can't wait until that fear's gone because I love that technology. But back and forth via email, let's call it, to ask all those questions, that you need to ask anyway. But the AI's done that all before you even know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So a quote comes in or an opportunity comes in or a lead comes in, that all then gets handled instantly. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Collect all the data. That then gets pulled in and an estimation, a quote is created instantly.
Yeah.
You don't know about it until the quote's created. We then usually send you a notification via whatever means you want and go, hey, this has been created. Can you go and review it? This was the request. This is all the information we collected. The quote's now created. Can you please review it? If you're happy with it, hit send.
Wow.
So what would, for an average quote, how many hours saving are you talking about?
I'm not sure about saving, but from an ROI point of view, we did one job that was a $12,000 project with us.
Yeah.
And that was a $280,000 ROI.
Yeah.
Another one was a $25,000 project, and that was a $350,000 ROI. Another example was
Don't have to be good at maths.
Yeah, the multiples are insane.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Cost saving. These examples that I just given, I wouldn't say it's cost saving, direct cost saving.
Yeah.
It's time saving.
Yeah.
And then it's opportunity cost because we're getting the quote out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting responses instantly. We're winning more work because we're getting it out.
Conversions are
How
higher.
often do you go to a tradie and say, can you come and quote my light bulb install, my TV install? Yeah, sure. I'll be there in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I'll get you the quote in 3 weeks. But if you went and called 5 companies, you would go with whoever given it to you the quickest because you think they respond faster. So that means they'll do the better job. It's perception.
Yeah.
Which means they'll win the work.
Yeah, and we're recently renovating our bathroom and we're using a company and the back and forth, what about if we use this thing? And I got to the stage, well, my wife was mainly organizing it. We got to the stage where we started to feel bad. We had asked so many questions and made so many variations. Like, man, we're starting to be pests here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go with this because we've been so annoying. If I knew that was conversation with AI and it was giving me some kind of indications of things, not sort of firm, I'd probably be more inclined to maybe spend a bit more time and be a bit more comfortable spending that time rather than annoying some poor bloke that's got to deal with us.
And then it drew up your bathroom and then it gave you a visual representation of what your bathroom's going to look like or your kitchen's going to look like after the renovation.
Yeah, that's powerful.
From a customer's perspective as well. Like, you can have those upfront conversations about the tile choices beforehand. It builds a 3D model of what it's going to look like. That's wild.
Changing gears a little bit. Obviously, you've been in business yourself for some time, so you're a bit of a business veteran yourself. I know you're into your health and fitness, into running and marathons, I believe. What's your advice around business owners or professionals around getting that balance right in relation to work and your finances and then family and health? What's your sort of strategy there?
Oh, my strategy these days is use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It knows me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
You've got to, my personal opinion, you've got to have a really good balance. We talk about work-life balance. That's really, really difficult to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't exercise, my work suffers.
Yeah.
If I don't put the time and effort into maintaining myself personally, my work suffers. And so I can 100% know this for a fact because I was one of those workaholics, 18, 20 hours a day, sleep 4 or 5 hours a day maximum, always on, don't exercise, just like work, 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 work.
People wear it like it's a badge of honor, like
You
it's a
burn
good
out.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you burn out.
It's not
It's
sustainable.
not sustainable. Maybe when I was 25 and I could do it for a few years, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not sustainable, right? Your body, what I've learned over the years is we need to treat our body, number one, our mind and body. Always give to yourself first before
Mm-hmm.
you give to others. You said you got a couple of young kids, man.
Yeah.
It's like you can't give them anything until you look after yourself first.
Yeah.
Which sounds really, um, selfish. But then once you feed yourself first, then you can feed others.
The reality is, if I look after myself, I'm able to be a dad because I'm around longer, right? That's
Yep.
no joke. That's a real thing.
Mentally,
Mhm.
you need to be mentally switched on for that shit.
Yeah, yeah. They'll test you. Yeah.
And so I've had to learn. It's taken many years, and I wish I learned this 20 years ago. But anyway, that's life. Like everything I do is about peak performance,
Mhm.
mental peak performance, physical peak performance, and how do I balance that across the board between business, life, personal, fitness, health, family, friends. It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know what the right balance is, and the balance is different for everyone. You're into marathon running, from what I gather or understand. Is it the pursuit or the challenge? Because I've never been much of a runner. I'd like to shed a few kilos and get more on the health train. I think I'm more in the camp at the moment of trying to obviously build a business and work more hours at the moment, trying to find that balance. What is it about marathon running or the equivalent that really drives you? Is it the personal pursuit of achieving and accomplishing such a feat? Or what is it that really drives you in that space?
When I was younger, it was definitely that goal
Yeah.
of being able to run a marathon. Why did I choose running over everything else? I was very much a team sport player when I was younger. Time.
Mhm.
So I think I haven't really thought about this too often or too much. I think I end up choosing running because I knew I needed to do something because it wasn't working the way I was doing it with working 20 hours a day. And doing a team sport meant you had to do it in times that was eating up work time.
Yeah.
But when I started running or learned that I could run anytime, I could do it before hours, after hours. It wasn't in my working hours
So it's
as
that
such.
practicality of being able to fit it in when you can.
Yeah. And I think I've never actually even thought about this, but I think that's probably why I chose running over anything else
Mhm.
because I could just do it when I wanted, whenever I wanted. It's like when people go to the gym at midnight, for example.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I realized that if I don't dedicate my time to fitness, whether it's running, swimming, gym, whatever, my rest of the life just suffers. My work
Yeah.
suffers, my mental suffer, my mental, just the family, just everything in general just seems to be worse. And like right now, because we just ran Brisbane Marathon on the weekend, and I was thinking this morning, like how much I even literally driving down here, I was like, I wonder how I'm going to feel today because I haven't exercised this morning.
Yeah.
Because I'm mentally stopping myself from exercising for a few days.
Yeah.
Could I? Absolutely, I could, but I don't because I know because ChatGPT tells me to not to take 3 or 4 days off, right?
Yeah.
And so because I hadn't exercised today, I'm thinking, wonder if I'll be on my game today
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I haven't exercised.
And you notice it. I had an experience, over the last 12 months or so, and I've spoken about it. I was 91 kilos less than a year ago. I'm now, as of today, like 75.
Congratulations, bro.
I just, and I feel like a different person. I always wanted to do a Muay Thai fight, so I thought I'll do it before I'm 28 now. I'll do it before I'm getting too much older. So
Is that this?
yeah, this is from training. Yeah,
Now that's what happens when he doesn't listen to his wife.
yeah, that's it. That's it. And I thought I'll do it, so I can tick it off the bucket list, so to speak, and then I'll go back to normal. And going through that experience of the training and the consistency around it, lost a bit of weight. I feel like I'm unable to now stop, and I've just continued with it. I have my third fight booked in 4 weeks' time, but it's the health benefits, it's the challenge, it's the fear, I guess, which kind of gets me going in a weird way. It now I'm to the point where I know if I don't do this intense exercise in my week, I'm a grumpy dad. I'm not as intelligent when I'm at work. I can't articulate the same well. It has this impact across the board. To now, it just feels like it's absolutely compulsory. And if I end up not doing this, I'm not going to be fighting forever. I know straight away what am I replacing it with, and that's my thought, because you have to have.
When your body fails, you just go pickleball.
Yeah, that's a good safe bet.
It's true, right? Because it becomes a more mental performance game than it is physical. And because it gives you that mental clarity to be able to focus. Even last year, like I had 2 years off running because I had really, really bad plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
I went to a really bad state. I've never been depressed, so I can't really comment on that subject too much, but it's like I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And I put on 15 kilos. I was drinking heavily. I was, eating probably packs of chips every day.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm a shadow of your former self. Yeah.
It's just like went downhill really quickly. I said that, but it was like probably over a 9-month or 12-month period.
Yeah.
You just don't notice. It just happens gradually.
Yeah, sneaks up on you.
Yeah. And then my partner got me into Pilates. She's like, "Oh, come to a Pilates session," because I think not that she'd said anything. I think she knew I needed.
I
needed something.
Yeah.
So come to a Pilates session. I'm like, why would I want to go to yoga? I don't want to a stretching session. I was like, I'm like, I knew subconsciously I needed to do something.
Yeah.
But I physically couldn't walk for an entire month. I could not walk.
Wow.
I didn't walk to any meetings. I didn't go for a walk along the river. I did not walk for an entire month. That's how much pain I was in. Anyone who's experienced plantar fasciitis, it's the worst injury in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You need your feet for everything, apparently. And so I went along to this Pilates session, and I was like, oh, that was fucking hard work. I was like, what is this? Have you guys ever done reform Pilates before?
I've tried it. It's terrible.
I've done one session. At one point in time, I got roped into a creative date idea, and I got dragged along to, it was Pilates and hip hop dancing.
That's a combination.
Two wildly different date ideas. And I thought, I'm going to smash this Pilates. And at the end of it, I was dead. Like, you don't realize your core strength's terrible. It's way harder than it looks.
Shout out to Pilates.
Yeah. You feel good afterwards, that's for sure.
That changed my life, going to that one reform Pilates session, because then I went back for a second, and then a third, and then I got addicted, and then I went 5 days a week. So I stopped drinking as heavy, stopped eating shitty junk food. It's like this snowball effect.
Yeah.
And I still say I was pretty much an alcoholic last year because we were still drinking every day except for Mondays.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, I've gone through that kind of like a rebuild mental process. I went, okay, got to set myself goals. What's my goal this year? And not drinking alcohol, not eating junk food, going all in on peak performance from a fitness point of view, from a mental point of view, and then what opportunities will come from that, from business. And you just see this snowball effect, compounding.
It's easier to cut those things out when you feel, because I feel like you feel the impacts of drinking more when you are training. It's easy to cut those things out when you're like, hey, I'm doing this thing I'm enjoying here that's suffering for this thing over here that's not really giving me much. It makes that decision-making process a lot easier to cut those, the junk food and the alcohol and those things out. I enjoy drinking, like the social element and all that sort of stuff, but I've found myself just naturally, without even planning, just drinking less and less. And I think there's a big uptick in that, like everyone sort of our age brackets, like a lot more common, people are drinking less and less. So it's it's interesting.
Across a generation, I think it's becoming a more and more common thing, like the sort of pub atmosphere of 70s and 80s that the old boy sort of tends to talk about. It's sort of phased its way out. Now you're seeing run clubs at this, in towards the city. They've got DJ decks, everyone's having acai bowls and going for a run together. Pickleball's another one, which I know is a bit of a passion project of yours. Do you want to
Yeah.
run us through sort of what's happening there? Because it's sort of bridges, I guess, community and sports
Yeah,
with
community
what you're
sports
working
and
on.
I think I just love the fact that if you bring a community together, so this all started pretty much off the COVID, right?
Yeah.
So we all experienced COVID differently. I still talk to a lot of people in Melbourne. I don't know how they got through it. Like Melbourne just was
Yeah,
brutal.
that was rough there.
Brutal. You know, the longest city in the world that was locked down, you know, just brutal. And I think community saved a lot of people. So
Mhm.
my passion for both innovation, fitness, peak performance, it just all came together, and COVID proved that, right? So we, um, one of my business partners and I, from a running group in Brisbane, well, she had a personal training center, right? So Katie was physically doing personal training.
Yeah.
What happens in COVID? You can't do personal training anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and if you do, it's got to be outside. And you got to be 3 meters away from each other. So that's how her run group started. And what we realized for that 6-month, 12-month period, people that were coming along to Run Club to get out of their home, to get away from this COVID lockdown situation, these people were very depressed, like
Mhm.
suicidal depressed.
Yeah.
And after you start having one-on-one conversations with them, like, this Run Club saved me.
Yeah.
Like, I was literally about to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
need of
like,
something. Yeah.
because people were just
People need people. Yeah.
people, human connection. You know, talk about AI, talk about what the world's going to look like with robotics in the next, 20, 100 years. People, the way we're built as a human, we need human connection,
Mhm.
and that won't change.
Yeah.
And so that was off the back of this community that Katie was building. You start hearing these conversations over and over and over that led into, well, how do we then help everyone get access to
Mhm.
this vibe? Helping 70 people is only one thing. How do we help hundreds of thousands or millions of people?
Yeah.
And that's where Run With was formed, was taking that vibe into an online app to then help every run club in the world, experience this
Yeah.
vibe, and then get every runner to be able to find a run club, which then evolved into meeting other people in the industry. And that's when we met with a former world champion squash player. And she had a lot of content around squash. Well, how do you monetize this? How do you turn this into into a commercialized product?
Yeah.
And so that's where Pivot Sports was born. And it's like, well, how can we take your squash content and what's happening in the squash industry, and then what's happening in the racket sport industry, so pickleball, padel, and go, well, how do we then take that from a community perspective, from a content perspective, and then what's missing from the industry? And so that's where we came up with the concept of booking. And so Pivot Sports is really focused on that booking aspect now,
Yeah.
helping players, us consumers, find a local place that you can go and play pickleball, squash, or padel, and book easily, meet up with your friends, play sessions together, bring that community together.
Anything that makes that sort of thing easier, is obviously going to be, better for humanity as a whole.
Human
And
connection.
yeah, and the sports, I think there's obviously a big popularity increases with those sort of sports. I think it's just the accessibility. Like,
Yeah.
everyone can kind of play from the get-go. Everyone sort of enjoys it. It's fun. It's still competitive. There's still that edge to it as well. So it's been, I haven't not a sport I've played personally, but it's been interesting seeing that be spoken about in certain places a lot more in the US and now here. And
It's the fastest growing sport in the world.
yeah.
China just invested $400 million.
Yeah, well, that's no joke.
Phenomenal. I was watching, it was a Netflix series about F1, and I would never have been interested in F1 before, but I'm watching the F1 players going and attending pickleball, and they're getting incredibly competitive amongst each other. But it's accessible at the same point in which where you've got 60 and 70-year-olds that may have bung knees and maybe were former tennis players.
Yeah.
They're getting out there, and that accessibility and that barrier for entry is really there. And I think that's awesome what you guys are doing.
Every time I go on a cruise ship, I always play pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. It's accessible. You're always going up against 70-year-olds, and they always whoop your ass. They're amazing.
They get top spin and back spin, and you're in all sorts of strife.
Good on them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Lucas, for joining us here today. I think it's been really great. I've certainly learned a lot. I think we probably need to do more of these as things evolve and change over time. But for our audience that are listening, what's the best way for them to find your content or reach out to you if they're interested in learning more about what you do?
I'm lucky that I'm very unique. My name, so
Mhm.
Lucas Meadowcroft. If you search me, I'm the only Lucas Meadowcroft in the world,
Mhm.
and so you can search me on any platform. Very contactable. Just don't spam me on LinkedIn because you'll get my auto spam reply. Yeah. So in the show notes, put my contact details.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, I should say,
Yeah.
x.com. TikTok, email, lucas@crofty.com.au. Yeah, I'm pretty much an open book.
Yeah, awesome.
Beautiful.
We'll have all those details in the show notes so people can reach out to you. But yeah, that was
Phenomenal episode. I
full
gained
on.
a lot by that. Yeah, that was unreal.
So what's the number one key takeaway you'll take from this, boys?
I think a lot. I think my takeaway was my thinking of AI. I'm probably about a year behind where it's at. So I'm still thinking, I'm still using the tools like, oh, it's good for helping me writing marketing content and bits and pieces, where not actually understanding where we're at today and what's possible today. I think that's probably my biggest takeaway. And it's also putting that positive spin on it as well.
I think I've got two main takeaways that I really liked. The first one was, I guess, using AI, ChatGPT, those language models to sort of audit your life, figure out what it is effectively that you want to implement, what's important, and then backpedal from there. I think basically treating it as a personal assistant that I can collaborate with, as opposed to being a little, picky and choosy with the tasks that I can use it for that I could implement. The second one is my mind always goes blue ocean strategy. Now I'm going, okay, if this is where things are going, what are traditional business models that I could potentially go? All right, I can learn and implement. There's areas of customer service where other, I guess, businesses haven't adopted this. Where are some areas that I can potentially shake up or sort of weasel my way into? So a lot of thought involved, I guess, a lot of planning involved in all of that. But I think looking at opportunities to implement AI into existing traditional businesses would be a
Exciting
topic.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that the next 5 to 10 years is going to be insane, especially with the baby boomers.
Hmm.
The kids are not wanting to take over the businesses.
Yeah.
They're the new generation don't want to do what we've done, right?
Yeah.
And so they want to do the influencer world or whatever, catches their mind. And so these baby boomer businesses, unfortunately, the IP in those businesses isn't what they think it's worth.
Hmm.
And so the opportunity to take over these companies, give these business owners some income over a period of time so they can retire comfortably, but then just 10x, 20x these companies.
Oh, there's so much opportunity. Yeah, your brick and mortar businesses, your service based businesses.
Yeah.
It's like you said, everyone's talking about apps and this and that. But just if you go back to, I guess, boring businesses and then how you can implement and leverage technology to change those, I mean, that's a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
People
for
still
sure.
need windows cleaned. People still need lights to turn on. People still need them, repair their fridges, their air conditioning. There's a whole bunch of traditional businesses there ready for a tech shake-up or ready to sort of sexy things up again and
right.
make the customer experience a bit better.
That's our next podcast then, boys.
Yeah. Well, I'll leave you on this note. The number one trade that is missing, that is absolutely going gangbusters in the world right now. Guess what that trade is?
Fitter and Turner.
Plumbers.
Okay.
Ask the next generation who wants to be a plumber.
Doesn't exist. Dirty work.
Guess
Don't wanna
what
do it.
plumbers are being paid in the US now?
It's
$300,000 a year.
Yeah.
US.
300 US as a plumber.
300,000.
Scrap that law degree, go get a plumbing trade.
Because no one wants to do it.
Yeah.
And the plumbing industry is dying because no new generation coming through.
Mhm.
So yes, let's call it 3-5 years, 10 years. Plumbers, electricians will be replaced by robots. But in this core period of time,
It's opportunity there.
absolutely massive opportunity.
Yeah.
That's gangbusters. It's better than law degree money.
Yeah.